What's up, folks? It's the Horphilia Jason, and welcome to an update on the 10 most downloaded podcasts on the Horphilia Network. This is for December 2016. Now, normally I just write a post and post it on the Facebook groups, but I thought with the YouTube channel, I'll start doing this a little bit different, but make it a little bit more interactive. So December, once again, end of the year on another fantastic month of downloads. We had over 29,000 downloads for the month, which we started off the year about averaging 14, 15, somewhere up to 18,000 per month. And we've damn near doubled it by the end of the year. So thank you for all the podcasters for working so hard. And thank you, the listeners, for spreading the word. But really quick, before I get into the numbers, I want to introduce 3 new podcasts that just joined the network. First up, we have 2 of these podcasts that are pretty similar in nature. We have the Slice and Dice Dreadcast and also Netflix and Chill. And while I say they're similar, is they both review streaming movies. Now, Slice and Dice, they do review Netflix streaming films, but they also do Shudder. I know they did one episode of the Shudder streaming service. So I think they're anything goes. It just has to be streaming podcast. And the host for that podcast consists of Joey from Death by Podcast. You also have Jim and Amanda. And each episode, they review 2 different streaming movies. And I know I haven't heard all of them. I haven't quite caught up on their catalog yet, but I know they do also guest hosts. They also have Mike from Death by Podcast. He guest hosts one episode. And each and every show, they review 2 different horror movies that are streaming. So if you like Death by Podcast, you're going to like this. Joey's a great host in both podcasts. So if you like one, I'm sure you'll like the other. All right, and then the other one I just referred to is Netflix and Chill, which is JP from 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. It's his new podcast, and he has a co-host. Her name is Carly. She's brand new to podcasting. So far, they only have 1 episode out. They reviewed Baskin on Netflix streaming, and it's an awesome debut episode. They have great chemistry with each other, so hopefully they'll continue that. I know he said it was kind of like a pilot episode to people, if people liked it. From the numbers so far, it seems like people do like it, so hopefully they'll continue with that. Oh, and one thing to mention is that the podcast, not only is Netflix and Chill a badass name for a podcast, they have a killer theme song that goes with the podcast, man. A perfect way to start in the podcast. And then last but not least, the third podcast that just joined is the Married with Children podcast, which, as you can tell, it's not a horror podcast, but we do have a few non-horror podcasts on the network. So I said, what the hell? That sounds pretty interesting. I'm friends of all the guys here. And the host for that, you have Alex from the Skeleton Crew. He's the lead host, and he's a super fan of the show. And then you have Jerry from Kill the Cast. And from what I understand, he's a medium level. He likes the show, but he's not a hardcore fan like Alex. And then you have kind of the novice of the group, which is JP, which he likes the show, but he hasn't seen near as many as the other 2. So I think it's a great mixture between their 3 personalities, different points of view. The first episode, they just killed it. They have 2 out so far, but the first episode is the only one I've heard so far. And I'm not a fan of Married with Children, the show at all, but the podcast is so damn good, and I think it might convince me to start watching the show. And how they're going to do it is they're going to start from season 1 to, I guess they went to 11, and each show is going to be a different episode. So it's going to be a long-term commitment show here, so strap in for the ride. All right, that was it. I just want to welcome all 3 of the podcasts of the network. I hope all 3 of you kill it out there. All right, so now we're getting to the top 10 podcasts downloads for the network. And I'm going to go reverse order. I'm going to start at number 10. Number 10 is the 50 Deaths of the Elf on the Shelf, a month in review. And that is Christian Luciani from Postmortem Radio. He's also an Exploding Heads horror podcast. And he's also a host on TGIF 13th fan podcast. And it's just shy of 6 minutes. It's a video of him filming elves on a shelf of deaths. He did 2 seasons. Each season had 25 deaths. So you basically, it's a 6-minute clip of 50 elves on a shelf deaths. I thought it would be pretty cool. I asked him if he wouldn't mind posting it on the network, and he readily agreed. And apparently, it was a big hit. It actually finished the number 10 most consumed podcast on the network. All right, now cutting to number 9, no pun intended, is Cut to the Chase number 2. Star Wars Rogue One. And like I mentioned, the last update, Cut to the Chase, is a brand new podcast on the network. So that's pretty cool. They had an episode already debut on the top 10. And as you can guess, they review Rogue One, him and Alex. All right, now moving on to the next one. And number 8 is my homie, Mr. Watson, Horror Quarter, episode number 5, the father and son horror. Where Mr. Watson and his son, they review both Frailty and The Mist. And they killed it like each and every episode. Mr. Watson kills it, so I'm ecstatic that he made the top 10 once again. That was number 8. Now, cutting back to number 7 is Cut to the Chase, number 1, the debut podcast, and that is Alex and Dan. The episode was called Halloween in December. As you can guess, discuss Halloween movies in December. So congratulations for a high debut. Now they are in iTunes and they have their own feed to review to subscribe to. All right, now we're getting to the top 6, and this is 2 different podcasts. Maintain the top 6 here. Starting with number 6, 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, number 97, The Listener's Choice, Volume 4. Number 5 episode is 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, episode number 95, the Sergio Martino Director Spotlight. And then the number 4 episode is 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, episode 96, What We Watched. And I'm glad that What We Watched got so many views. That's personally was some of my favorite episodes they do, is just a bunch of mini reviews. So that was cool. That made their top episode of the month here. All right, so that leads the top 3, and the top 3 are all those same podcasts. As you may guess by now, the number 1 podcast so far on the network in recent months is Exploding Heads Horror Podcast. And coming in at number 3 is Exploding Heads Horror Podcast number 26, Christmas and Boxing Day Spectacular. The number 2 episode is their episode number 25, the First Anniversary Extravaganza and the Maniac Cop Trilogy. And then rounding out the number 1 episode of December 2016 on the network is Exploding Heads Horror Podcast number 27, the top 16 of 2016, which comes in at no surprise. People love end of the year top podcast episodes, so that was not a surprise to me, at least. But congratulations to all of the podcasts that made the top 10. And if you didn't make the top 10, you still had some pretty impressive numbers. You'll get there. And I'm looking at you, Nudie. You're going to get there someday. I believe in you. So that was it. Thanks for watching this update, and spread the word. That's it. Peace.